What's up, guys? This is Ben with 2020 election predictions, and today I'm going to talk about the slew of Rasmussen polls that has come out recently. Not a lot of people are talking about it because they're frankly pretty easy to discount. In 2016, the Rasmussen National Popular Vote poll was the most accurate. In 2018, the Rasmussen polls were pretty horrendously off, kind of on the congressional ballot. They got the House races pretty wrong, and they also got the Senate races. They weren't entirely accurate. But in 2016, they saw something that um, no other people really saw, and that was that Trump kind of had this hidden support that I think a lot of other pollsters failed to grasp. I think this with the shy Trump voter. So we just saw a plot yesterday that had Trump up in the national popular vote by 1 point. Of course, it's still within the margin of error, but no other poll showed this. So can we trust the Rasmussen polls? Let's see. John Tuck in the chat. Hi, can you see me? Yes, I can see you. So you can ask some questions if you would like. But how much credibility should we give this one poll? So I don't think a lot. However, also with some recent Rasmussen polls, we've seen Trump's approval rating be above 50% and about, like, I think we've seen it in the last 3 to 4 polls. And this is pretty significant. Do I think Trump's approval ratings in the nation are above 50 overall? No. But we've seen in the Rasmussen approval ratings that, I mean, Trump's numbers were as low as like 45 and 46. So the fact that they're consistently above 50 might show that some general trends are changing. I do think that we should weight the Rasmussen polls so that rank them down, just because I do think that they oversample GOP people. We saw this in 2012. We did see this in 2008. They had those races a lot closer. However, in 2016, we can't deny the fact that Rasmussen on the national popular vote level had the most accurate polls. And there were some just horrendous polls overall that, like, right now we're trusting more than Rasmussen just because I think that, I mean, they're generally in the mainstream media, they are more like favored. But I don't think that means that we should discount these one polls and call it a complete outlier. We have seen it in the national popular vote. I'm looking at the Real Clear Politics right now, that this race has gotten a lot closer on the national level. I've said this before, that the national polls don't matter as much, but we can see that right now the national popular vote is within 6 points. And earlier this year, in late June, it was like above 10 points. So this race is definitely closing in. So I think that is pretty interesting. And one thing that I also want to see is more on polls at the state level, because I frankly don't know why pollsters do these national polls. They pay money for them. I think that it's fun to kind of like, they make great headlines. The cable news stations love to run with it. However, I really don't think that they mean much at all, especially when our elections aren't based on the national popular vote, but they're only based on the electoral college. So let me kind of look in the chat some, and I definitely want to answer your questions. And I kind of want to talk about anything you want to talk about. I was kind of talking about the Rasmussen polls at first, whether they matter that much. Should we kind of cherry pick them out of most of the other polls that have Biden up? I don't think so, but let's kind of go to the chat so we can answer some of y'all's questions. Let's see. Rasmussen polls are terrible. Will the GOP win the House? I don't think that the GOP will win the House. I think that they could gain some seats because in 2018 it was such a wave year for the Democrats. I don't think 2020 will be another wave year. And we even saw, like in California, Mike Garcia, a Republican, picked up a Democrat-leaning seat. And in 2020, he is projected to lose that seat. But the GOP lost a lot of seats in California, especially, kind of in the more eastern parts that actually tend to be more favorable to the Republicans. So I think that the GOP will be able to flip some of their House seats back. However, I don't think it's going to get a lot of media attention because it won't really matter in terms of like changing the Speaker of the House. I still expect Nancy Pelosi will keep her position as the Speaker of the House. Right now, I see Asher Novisky is asking about the Senate. Where do I see the Senate? Right now, I see it as 50-50 tie. I think it's more likely that the Republicans win 51-49 than the Democrats doing so, but right now I still have it as a 50-50 tie. I think that the closest state that tilts towards the Democrats right now is in North Carolina, between Tom Tillis and Cal Cunningham. We've actually seen some polls where Tillis is outperforming Trump. However, I do think that Trump is going to outperform Tillis. But we've seen a lot of polls from the North Carolina Senate race where both candidates are about 40%. So I think there are a lot of undecided voters there. So I think that Senate race will be close. I think the Senate race in Iowa could be close, but I think that Joni Ernst will be definitely be helped out by President Trump, and she'll ride his coattails. And same in Montana. I think that Montana and Iowa are tilt Republican states at this point. But I think when we look at North Carolina and Maine, I think those will be a lot closer. Rasmussen has Biden, Ohio +4, and national popular vote Trump +1. So I think that goes to show that we can't just cherry pick polls here and there and kind of assume what they mean. Because definitely, I don't think anyone thinks that Ohio is going to be to the left of the national popular vote. Right now, looking at the Rust Belt, I think that Trump, if I had to make my predictions right now, I think Trump would win Pennsylvania but lose Michigan and Wisconsin, which is interesting. And then I think Minnesota is probably tilts towards the Democrats, but that's more of a toss-up than even like Wisconsin and Michigan. So I think that's definitely an interesting development that has been brought up in a couple of days. So, guys, please go to the chat. And if you haven't seen this feature before, if you click on the $sign that's under the chat, you can see that there's a super chat. So I would really love for one of y'all just to see if that function works, because it's really cool. It kind of does like some like firework type things. So I'd really appreciate the support, even if it's just like a $1 super chat. Then you can answer your question, and I will dedicate the entire live stream to your one question for the next 5 minutes at least. So it would be really cool if one of y'all could do that. But just speaking more about the Rasmussen polls, I don't think that we should trust any one particular pollster. I see that on 538 that they have kind of different rankings for these pollsters, and I think they do this based on kind of the sample size, whether historically they have been correct, and even on the polls with 538, they weight the polls. So for like the Rasmussen, they do like a plus Democrat, like +5 to kind of adjust and weight the polls. So I think that's definitely an interesting thing that they do. And I think that frankly, 538's like average polls could be even more accurate than what let's say the Real Clear Politics average that doesn't do any weighting. Let's see. So if y'all want to have me answer a question that I can talk about for a while, please use the super chat feature so that I can do that. But while I'm waiting on that, one of the last questions I answer is from Tak Ridagu. Do you think there could be a blue House, Senate, and even governorship at a Trump presidency? I definitely don't think that's possible. I think that the governorship is going to be pretty solid for the GOP. And I think that if the Senate glows blue, then I don't think that Trump really has a chance. I think that Trump can help the Senate chances. So I think um, what a more likely scenario would be is that we see a red Senate but a blue presidency, and I think we can see that reflected in the different models. We can see that, like, I think on the recent like JHK forecast models, it's about a 50-50 toss up in the Senate. But right now, I think Trump has about a 29% chance or 25% chance in the different models. Let me do a quick pause while I wait for this. Thank y'all so much for the live chat. I'm gonna go now, but I'll definitely come on later tonight so that I can do another one. So stay tuned for that. It'll probably be around 8:30. So thanks, guys.